For those of you who've joined in early, the session is about to begin in a few minutes. Make yourself comfortable. Probably you might want to grab a notepad. Alright, we are going to have an interesting session today and it's going to start in a few minutes. So meanwhile, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you for a quick little favor. This is more like a sound check. If you can hear me loud and clear, you can make use of the chat window to let me know. If you can see my screen well, and yes, I've already started receiving confirmations. All right. Thank you, Bob. Thank you so much for the confirmation. We are all set and we will be starting in a few minutes. Hi all, a very good afternoon. Thank you for having taken the time to have joined me in today's workshop. This is Jay, product expert from the AD Solutions team here at ManageEngine. So yeah, giving you a quick heads up on what to expect out of the 5-week workshop series we are organizing for AD Manager. Let's quickly get into the roadmap for the workshop. Okay, so the first week, which is today, today's workshop is going to be about an important topic, more like an introduction to identity and access management, IAM, a trending topic. We'll be starting off the first week, which is today's session, with something as fundamental as user provisioning. So we'll be learning to use ADManager Plus for user provisioning or user onboarding. So that's going to be the task for the first week. All right. Week 2 is going to be about user modification or user management, which is like the second phase right after user provisioning in the user lifecycle. We'll be also talking about how ADManager Plus as an application can help you not just manage your AD objects, but also but also help you manage your Office 365 licenses and your Exchange servers as well. So ADManager Plus is going to be a 360-degree solution. That's the beauty of the product. All right, so that's going to be in week 2. We'll still further proceed into week 3 and start talking about AD reporting. When it comes to reporting, ADManager Plus has close to 150 plus pre-packaged reports. All of these reports structured towards your important AD scenarios. So we will have a look into the AD reports that are available with ADManager Plus. We'll also be talking about something as critical as file server permission management. When I say file server permission management, we are going to see how AD reports that we are generating are not just a data providing tool or a data providing resource, but then they go a step further and also actually let you make management actions out of the reports that are being generated. So the first 3 weeks, the first week again is going to be about user creation. Second week is going to be about user management, and the third week, now that your users are on board, are created and you've started modifying them, you'd want to generate reports, right? So pretty obvious. So we'll be talking about AD reports. Week 4 and week 5. Okay, what are we going to do in week 4? Week 4, it's going to be about AD delegation. Delegation, you might already be using. A delegation is more like load balancing, and we'll see how ADManager Plus is different from your native Active Directory delegation, by which I mean to say we'll be able to delegate securely and based on roles. So that's the beauty of it. We'll also be talking about workflow. Workflow is a feature that's more like a ticket-based request review approval system. So we'll be talking about workflow and AD delegation in week 4. The last week the 5th week in the workshop series. All right, that's going to be the most exciting week. That's because we'll be talking about automation. So under automation, we'll be covering all the topics that we had discussed earlier, and we'll see how to get it automated. By which I mean to say, we'll be talking about automating user onboarding or user provisioning. We'll also be talking about automatic deprovisioning or cleanup. So that's going to be in automation. And finally, we'll wrap up the 5th week with the mobile application. So I'll be giving you a hands-on or a first-hand experience into how to use your ADManager Plus iOS and Android apps. So that's going to be the roadmap for the 5-week workshop series. I'm eagerly looking forward to have your participation through all 5 weeks, guys. So take my word for it, by the end of the 5th week, all of us are going to become experts in ADManager Plus. All right, so that's a deal. Okay, so before I get into today's session, for those of you who want to try out the product as we speak, so as I demonstrate, if you want to like take a look at a feature or probably try it out firsthand, that can be definitely done. And how is that going to be done? Give me one quick moment. You will be needing to access the demo instance that's set up. We've installed ADManager Plus on the cloud and it's accessible for the public. You can make use of this specific URL that I'll be sharing in chat in a while. Just give me one quick moment. 3, 2, 1, and it's there on your chat. Yes. So this is going to be the URL that you'll be needing to use to access ADManager Plus's live demo that's hosted online. All right. One thing that you'll have to note is you'll have to log in as the administrator. That's because the administrator has all the privileges, while if you log in as the technician, your privileges are going to be restricted. So make sure that you log in as the administrator into the URL that I shared a while back to take a look at the features firsthand. Okay, that's going to be about the cloud instance. And as regards to the questions, so during the demonstration, if you have any questions coming up, do not hesitate to shoot the questions right at me. I'll be taking the questions then and there. Maybe if I miss out one or two, not a problem at all. Do not worry. I'll have them answered towards the end. That's as regards to questions. And finally, if you want a recording of today's session, that can be totally arranged as well. Just drop in a message on the chat and I'm going to have the recording emailed to you. Okay, all the basics set. The recording is there for you. The slide deck that's available can also be downloaded from the handout section. Hope I'm audible, loud and clear. We are going to get into the first week of the ADManager Plus workshop and let's get started. Okay, so today's topic is going to be about advanced identity and access provisioning. So what does advanced identity and access provisioning mean? To put things in simple terms, we are going to be talking about user onboarding. ADManager Plus as an application can let you have your users onboarded into your Active Directory. And what's the benefit? Why would you want to use ADManager Plus when you have your native tools? We've got your Active Directory users and computers console on one hand. We've also got PowerShell. But then why are we supposed to use ADManager Plus? So that's the question that you might be having. Pretty simple. The answer is straightforward. If you were to use your Active Directory users and computers console, the biggest drawback is it's tedious and time consuming. That's all. That's the first and biggest drawback. The reason being, if you were to provision users using ADUC, your users and computers console, you will have to go step by step, one attribute after the other filled out for every single user. On an average, for creating a single user, you'd end up spending nothing less than 30 minutes, and that's something that you can't afford. But then with ADManager Plus, we've got the whole process simplified, and that's going to be the agenda for today's session. I'm going to show you how to get users onboarded in one single go with just 2 steps. With just 2 steps, do believe me, I'm going to show you how to do that. And how we're going to do that? We've got 2 things. One is the smart templates we will be building today, and number 2, the prerequisite. The second prerequisite is a simple CSV file. So this is going to be the fundamental requirement for using ADManager Plus for onboarding your users into your organization. One is the smart template and number two is the CSV file. Alright. Through the session, I'll also let you know as to how ADManager Plus is better than PowerShell. So let's get into the topic that we'll be discussing today. Okay, so what's going to be the topic for today's session? We'll start off with understanding that ADManager Plus is an application that lets you do 360-degree user provisioning. When I say 360-degree, I mean you can provision users not just in AD but also have users simultaneously provisioned in your Exchange, in your Office 365, in your Skype for Business, and there's more. We can also have it provisioned in your Google Apps suite. So it's going to be a 360-degree user provisioning, and the best part is all of this is going to happen from a single console. From a unified window, we are going to have users provisioned in all of these environments, and that too in one go. So you need not take up simultaneous user provisioning. You need not take up individual user provisioning. You just have to provision it once, and the task of getting it provisioned on Office 365, Exchange, Skype for Business, and Google Apps is taken care by ADManager Plus. So that's the first topic for discussion. We'll still go further and talk about bulk user creation. So that's one use case that has been not been answered by your native AD UC for a long time now. So that's one feature every administrator would crave to have. The reason being, in an organization, in real time, you're not going to have just one user being onboarded per day. That's not how it's going to work. Your HR is going to call you up and he's going to request you to onboard, say for example, nothing less than 10 users in a day. So if that's the case, all of these 10 users, and not just 10 users for the same department, we can have cases where we'll have users in different departments. So we are going to see how to bulk onboard users to different departments by using ADManager Plus and a simple CSV file. Okay. Okay, so that's going to be about bulk user provisioning. We'll go still further and talk about user creation templates and a specific feature in user creation templates called as the creation rules. Why are we talking about creation rules? We're talking about them because we want to ensure that details or attributes such as group membership are pre-specified by simple creation rules. So these are basically logics that will help you cut down on your user onboarding time. So you can have pre-specified values for certain attributes, something like your group membership, and have your users onboarded in one go. That's about group membership. We'll also talk about attributes, making attributes mandatory, making attributes duplicate free. We are going to talk about that. And we'll also talk about detecting forest-wide duplicates. So like I told you, we'll want to make sure that there are no duplicates, there are no two users with the same logon name maybe. So we're going to talk about that as well. So without any delay, let me get into today's session. Okay. Like I told you, if you want to make use of this cloud instance, feel free, log in as the administrator and try out the features as I'm explaining it to you. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this off and switch to my instance. Yes. So what do we have right here? We've got the ADManager Plus dashboard. The dashboard gives you a comprehensive picture of your entire organizational scenario. It gives you insights into details such as your user reports, your system reports, and the other reports section can be configured as well. So why do we need a dashboard? A dashboard actually can give you a quick overview or a sneak peek into what's exactly happening in your organization. Something like your number of inactive users, number of users who are locked out, and the best part is the dashboard that's here not just gives you information but also lets you do a management action. So all you'll have to do is click on the right link or click on the right action that's required and just go ahead and get it done. So that's about the dashboard. Like I told you, today's session is going to be around the first and most fundamental task of a user lifecycle, which is user creation or user provisioning. That's the first AD management task that we are going to be talking about. And how do we start? We are going to start off with the AD management tab. That's right here. Eventually, in the 5 weeks, I'm going to explain to you as to how to make use of your Active Directory reports, how to do AD delegation, how to set a workflow, how to automate the whole process, the whole AD management process. So that's going to be one tab per week, and we're going to be discussing all these tabs, and by the end of the 5 weeks we're going to cover the entire product. So we are starting off with AD management today, and the first task for the day is going to be user creation. Okay, quick question. During the introduction, I told you that there are two prerequisites for user creation using ADManager Plus. Does anyone have an answer? What are the two prerequisites for creating users using ADManager Plus? Okay, I've got an answer. Let's see if somebody's got it. Oh, great, Jonathan. Yes, you're right. We need two things. One is the user creation template, and number two is a CSV file. So like Jonathan pointed out, we are going to start off with the first prerequisite, which is the user creation template. All right. Let's see how to create a user creation template. The first prerequisite for user onboarding or user creation in ADManager Plus. User creation templates. So user creation templates are basically pre-configured templates which have values for specific attributes pre-filled. Why do we need this? Simple. You can make use of user creation templates and have templates created out for different departments. Say for example, right here in the example that I'm pointing out, we've got templates for the HR department, we've got templates for the marketing department, sales department, so on and so forth. Not just department wise, you can have your very own use case. Say for example, you want to onboard trainees into your organization, you can have a template specifically made for trainees. Likewise, if you want to create a template for your HR, you can have that as well. So all of this can be created and customized from the create new template action that's available out here. And the idea behind having different templates for different departments is pretty simple. Because every single department is going to have its own specific set of attributes. Say for example, the access permission or things like group membership or things like the organizational unit in which a user has got to be a part of. All of that is going to be mostly department specific or at times role specific. So you can have templates created for departments, templates created for roles, so on and so forth. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly show you how to create a new template. Creating a new template. How are we doing till now? So far so good? So we are going to start off with user creation template. We're going to create a template. Let's take an example of onboarding IT users into your organization, users or employees into your IT department. So I'm going to say IT user accounts, and the description is going to be provisioning IT users. Oh, oopsie, that's a typo. Provisioning IT users. So yes, we've got into the templates module. So basically we are in the module where we can create user creation templates. I've created or I've named it as IT user accounts. The idea is to create a template for my IT department. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly walk you through as to what's what in the layout first, and then I'm going to get into the layout and start customizing based on my requirement, which is a template for IT department. So by the end of the template creation, I'm going to have a module or a format that's going to have the details that are pertaining to IT user accounts or members of IT department pre-specified, and then I'm going to have a simple CSV file created. So my template is ready with all the required user attributes or AD attributes, and my CSV file with the name of the employees to be onboarded will also be there. So combining both of the two will get my users onboarded. So two simple steps, like I told you, a template and a CSV file is all you'll be needing for user onboarding. So we've decided to create a template for the IT department. So what do we have right here? We've got the layout view. The layout view basically gives you access into your Active Directory attributes or customizing your Active Directory attributes. And we've strategically segregated the layout view like this. The general tab has details that are pretty basic, like a self-explanatory. General tab is going to have your first name, your last name, your logon name, a pretty important attribute, your logon name, and also other details pertaining to the user account, things like your employee ID, your description, and yes, the container in which the user has to be a part of or as well. Alright, so that's going to be the general tab. The first and foremost tab, we'll have the logon name, the most important attribute in this tab. Alright, let's go ahead and see what's there in the accounts tab. The accounts tab basically is going to have details pertaining to your password, your group membership. So in this tab, we've got provisions to set password. So with this template, I can preset a password for a user or specify the format in which the password has to be set, pre-specify all of this. And yeah, the group membership can also be set. Okay. Not just that, we've gone still further and we've given you option to customize things as fine and as detailed as your logon has. So if you want to make sure that your employees can't log on during your weekends, you can make use of this console right here, remove off access for the weekends, and save the template and apply it to the users. Simple and straightforward, self-explanatory. So we're done with the general tab, we're done with the accounts tab. Let's move on to the contact tab. Okay. From the contacts tab, we are able to understand that things such as the department name, the title, the manager attribute, all of this can be specified. Yes. After that's done, let me talk about Exchange. So in the introduction, I told you that the user provisioning using ADManager Plus is going to be a 360-degree user provisioning. Yes, you got me right, a 360-degree user provisioning. By which I mean to say, we can have users provisioned in your Active Directory, users provisioned in your Office 365, Google Apps, and Exchange, and also Skype for Business. So all of this is going to happen from the same console. Like I told you, one console for your 360-degree user provisioning. So what are we looking at right here? We're talking about Exchange right now. We've got provisions to enable mailbox enabled users or have it as mailed enabled users. So let's go ahead and choose mailbox enabled users. We've got details such as the mail server, the mail store, all of this can be pre-populated. Okay, let me say automatic. The best part is the application not just gives you an entry-level access into applications like Exchange or Office 365, it actually lets you go fine-grained and customize details or attributes that are pertaining to your Exchange, things like your storage limit, things like your archival, all of it can be set right from here, right from this console. So you ideally need not log into your Exchange management console. You can get all of the tasks performed right at the entry. Okay, that's going to save a lot of time. You need not toggle between multiple windows to get your Exchange separately provisioned or Office 365 separately provisioned. Like I told you, we've got all of the attributes, the roles, retention policy, active sync, all of that right here, and you can feel free to customize this. Okay, that's there. That's about Exchange. I've chosen mailbox enabled users. Let me get into something that's interesting. Let's talk about custom attributes. Okay, when it comes to custom attributes, ADManager Plus lets you go one step further than the default set of AD attributes that are provided, or the default set of AD attributes that come along with your Microsoft AD. You can create your own custom attribute in a specific data format, all right, and have that set. So this attribute is going to be at a product level. So this is not going to get percolated into your native Active Directory, mind me. This is going to be an attribute that's at a product level. Okay. So not just that, there's a provision to run a custom script. Why would we want to run a custom script? Pretty simple. Let's take a use case. So right after user creation, there are certain things that you'll want to get triggered. Say for example, you want the user who's recently created to be onboarded into your HRMS software, your service desk software, things like that. If that's the case, we are talking about pretty simply, we can have a custom script build for that process to be triggered. We can have a PowerShell script right here, or a VB script put right here. So all of this can be done. the best part is it can be triggered right after the user creation process is successfully done. So it says run the custom script on successful user creation. So do not get me wrong, the script here is not going to be for creating a new user, but this script is going to help you do another process that's triggered right after user creation. Okay, that's as regards to custom scripts. Okay. The next tab, what are we talking about right now? We're talking about the layout right here. The next tab that we'll be discussing is Office 365. Okay, so we've got the Office 365 module right here. We've got the create Office 365 with directory sync enabled and create an Office 365 without directory sync enabled. You can choose any of the two options. Okay, I've started getting questions. Mike asks me as to what's the credential required for Office 365 integration to work. Okay, thank you for the question, Mike. Very relevant to the topic that we're discussing. Yes, so like I was telling you, the user provisioning that we're doing is a 360-degree user provisioning. You can have users onboarded to your system with or without directory sync. And for this to work, we'll need credentials configured into the admin tab. Let me quickly show you as to how to get that done. Let me not deviate from the layout view that I'm discussing right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a new instance and show you how to have your Office 365 integration set. Thanks for the question. This is exactly what I'm expecting. Guys, keep shooting questions right at me and I'm going to take them then and there. Alright, so we had a question for Office 365 integration. The question was as to how to set credentials or how to configure Office 365 integration. So any integration in the product for that matter, right after you're welcomed by the dashboard, you'll have to jump to the admin tab. What we are looking at is the admin tab. So this is going to be an integration that we're talking about. So it's going to be an admin action that you'll need to be performing. Okay. And we're talking about an Office 365 integration. So pretty straightforward. Click on Office 365. Yes. The instance that I am using has an Office 365 user account already configured, and like you can see, you can either choose to have directory sync enabled or disabled. So if you were to add a new account, you can do that from here. Let me quickly show you. Yes, there's one prerequisite for this Office 365 ADManager Plus integration to work, and that's going to be your Windows Azure AD module. So basically, this integration will happen when you have your Windows Azure AD module installed in the same machine where you've got ADManager Plus installed. So that's one prerequisite that you'll definitely have to have in your system, having your Windows AD Azure module installed in the machine where your ADManager Plus is installed. Alright, and you can configure your Office 365 account, key in your username and password and specify the domain to which you want to link it. Alright, you can specify your Office 365 account details right here, the username and the password, select the domain and click update. With the AD Azure module in place, your integration is going to happen effortlessly. So we've got Office 365 integration done. So I hope that answers your question. Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. Yes, great. Okay, so yes, what are we talking about? We're talking about a 360-degree user provisioning using user creation templates. We've got Office 365 right here, and I've also shown you how to configure the integration. You can choose to enable directory sync or disable directory sync. So that's as regards to Office 365. Likewise, you can also configure your Google Apps. You can also configure your Skype for Business. So I guess I'm pretty much done with the explaining the layout part. Let me get back to the general tab. Okay, so what have we done right now? We started off by explaining that it's important to have the user creation templates for the user onboarding process. Alright, we are trying to create a template for the IT user accounts. Okay, so we are in the layout view right here. I've been explaining as to how the layout view works. Now I'm going to get into the layout and start customizing based on my requirement right here, which is a template for the IT user accounts. Okay, let me start off with the general tab. Let me start off with something as basic as the description. So since this is going to be a template for the IT department, let me say the description as IT technician. So any user who's getting onboarded with this specific template is going to have his description set as IT technician. Likewise, I can probably have other attributes pre-specified. So from the general tab, say for example, things like the username or the logon name can be set to a specific naming format. In the introduction, during the introduction, I was telling you that we can standardize the naming format for users in your organization. So right at the entry level, if you were to use ADManager Plus, you can have your naming format pre-specified, configured and set and standardized right at the very start. So you can choose from a list of available naming formats. Say for example something like the first name plus last name or the last name plus first name. The format can be as per your choice. If you want to create a custom naming format, we've got provision for that too. If your organization's policy demands a custom naming format, you can do that. All you have to do is click on this link. I'm leaving this task up to you. Make use of the demo instance. Try out creating a custom naming format. It's going to be self-explanatory. If in case you have any doubts, do not hesitate. Do drop a message and I'm going to respond. All right. So you can create a custom naming format and pre-specify values or the format for this. That's because your logon name is a unique attribute that's specific to every user, and you'd want to have a uniformity across the organization for all users in terms of the format. Okay, so that's as regards to the logon name. And we've also spoken about, we've preset the description as the IT technician. What more can I do from this tab? I can pre-specify the organizational unit or OU to which this user has to be put. So in this case, it's going to be the IT department. Okay, I'm setting the OU as IT department. I'm setting the description as IT technician. I've also said or set the logon name format. Okay, let me get into the accounts tab. So basically I can configure the password right here. I can choose to specify a specific option. I can choose to say for example, in this case I'm saying type a password option. I'm saying I'm pre-specifying a password since I'm the administrator and I'm aware of the password complexity that's got to be maintained. What I'm doing is I'm pre-specifying a password, and this password is going to get applied for all the users who are going to get onboarded with this specific template. So I'm saving the hassle of the user going ahead and creating the password one by one all by themselves. So I'm pre-specifying a password that meets the complexity. Okay, that's as regards to the password. From the accounts tab, I can customize something more. Let me customize the group membership. So we are creating a template for the IT department. So I'm going to alter the group membership and have it corresponded to the IT specific groups. So I'm adding a new group. Let me search for the IT department groups. Okay, I've got the short list and I'm going to be choosing IT department specific groups. Okay, I'm hitting OK. So this is basically the group list viewer. These are the selected groups and I'm going to hit OK. What did I do? I am trying to specify the group membership. Actually, I'm trying to pre-specify the group membership. The user accounts are not even created or not yet created, but then I've got attributes like their group membership, like their password, details such as their logon name format, all of that pre-specified even before they're into the system. So I tried configuring the group membership. I specified the groups that are related to the IT department and hit save. Okay, what more? We're done with this tab. Let's get to the next tab. From the contacts tab, I can specify the department. So the department is going to be the information and technology department. Okay. If you're aware of the manager who's going to head the entire IT division, you can specify the manager as well from the list of available user objects that are there in your Active Directory. Let me quickly take an example. So we are looking at the IT department. Let me search for an IT administrator who's going to head the department. Yes. Okay, so it's going to be this gentleman right here with the name IT Admin USA. This person is going to be the manager for all the users who are going to get created with this template. So what are we trying to do right here? What am I trying to reiterate over and over again? We've got multiple AD attributes. As a matter of fact, we've got almost all AD attributes nicely sorted out for you under different tabs. Pretty self-explanatory. All of the AD tabs or all of the AD attributes are under categories, different categories. You can have all of those attributes pre-specified once. So for my entire IT department, the whole process of specifying attributes one after the other is getting done in one go, and henceforth any day from today on, if I want to provision a user account for my IT department, I'll not need to go and do it one after the other, but then just make use of this template. So that's going to save phenomenal amounts of time and truckloads of effort. So that's the beauty of it. We're talking about great saving in terms of time. Okay, so we've specified attributes like the manager, the group membership, the department, done. Okay, let me go ahead and quickly check for my Office 365. Yes, creation in place, and please make sure that you check this. Yes, what more? So we've got the basic layout set as per our requirement. We've got all of this set, the important attributes discussed, the important attributes pre-specified. There's something more. So this template that we're talking about can either be used by your administrator, that is your own self, or you can have this template assigned to your technician. You might have a case where in your organization, a technician makes or raises a request for user creation, and the administrator validates the request and gets the onboarding done, or your HR for that matter raises a request for new user creation and the administrator processes it. So the third week we'll be talking about the fourth week we'll be talking about Active Directory delegation. At that point in time, I'm going to show you how to create roles for your HR, for your technician, and assign them these templates. So today we are talking about templates. These templates can not just be used by the administrator, but can also be used by your HR and your technician. So if that's the case we are discussing, you'd not want your HR or your IT technician to have access to all the tabs. All right, you'd want it to be minimal. You'd want your HR to just key in the basic details. If that's the case, you can always choose to customize this tab or this layout. And how do you do that? The big yellow button. Yes, the big yellow button right here that says enable drag and drop is your answer. So let me quickly click on enable drag and drop. Alright, so now the entire view has become editable. All this long I was able to fill in values, but then I was not able to edit it. The moment I clicked on enable drag and drop, the entire display or the entire layout has become editable. So let me quickly alter the layout and its attributes. Say for example, I do not want an attribute like the web page attribute, doesn't make sense or is not required. I can quickly hover over to the attribute, point at this edit icon that's available and click delete. Proceed. Okay, what if I deleted something by mistake? No problem, it's going to go and get saved in the field tray right here. It's going to get back right here. You can always choose to drag and drop it back to its own place. You can do that. Okay, so you can delete an attribute, you can restructure the order, feel free to customize it, feel free to make use of the demo instance. You'll have to do it firsthand to understand as to how this works. Alright, like I told you, it's not just going to be at the attribute level. We can go still further and remove unnecessary modules. Let me quickly show you how to do that. I do not want my technician to have access to remote mailbox. Off it goes. No terminal services. Click on the X that's there, off that goes. No Skype. That goes as well. So now I've got a pretty simple layout that's got my general tab, account, contact, exchange, custom attributes, Office 365 and Google Apps. Custom attributes as well is another frill, so I'm taking that as well off. Okay, so the layout has been customized based on my requirement. I've kept the layout pretty simple and straightforward, just the basic tabs, the bare minimum, and I've made the template as simple as possible. There are certain more features that I'll want you to know when it comes to template. We were talking about standardizing naming formats. We've discussed that from the logo naming format that was available right here. We were also talking about making certain organizational specific attributes mandatory. What am I talking right here? We're talking about making an attribute, picking an attribute and making it mandatory. So in your organization, there might be an instance where there's got to be an attribute that's got to be made mandatory because, say for example, an attribute like your employee ID has to be made mandatory. That's because your help desk software requires this specific attribute, or it's mapped to this specific attribute, and based on that, a certain action gets triggered. So if that's the case, if you want to make an attribute, a non-mandatory attribute mandatory, ideally you'll have to be a schema admin. So if you want to do it in your native Active Directory users and Computers Console, or using your native tools, you have to have the permission of a schema admin. But then that's going to take a lot of effort. That's going to be a little troublesome. Okay. If you do not want to fall prey for all of that, you can actually enforce an attribute level mandation right from the application itself. Yes, you heard me right from the application itself, without having to be the schema admin. And how is that possible? The application lets you create a restriction that's pertaining to the application or at an application level. What I'm trying to do right here is, let me choose the employee ID attribute and show it to you in action. So I can choose to edit any attribute. This time I'm choosing the employee ID attribute. My intention is to make it mandatory. So like you see, attributes like the logo name is mandatory. And how do you know that? Because there's a red asterisk right next to it. So now I want to make my employee ID mandatory. I'm going to quickly edit it. Yes, so the security option that's available lets me make it either mandatory or read only. In this case, I'm going to make it mandatory. Okay, so what do you see? We see that there's a red asterisk right next to the employee ID attribute. So without actually having to take the trouble of becoming a schema admin, we created a mandation at the application level. So if somebody were to use ADManager Plus for onboarding users without filling out the employee ID attribute, no way that they're going to get done with the process. So it's become mandatory at the application level. So this is one specific feature or a use case that's pertaining to just ADManager Plus. You can have non-mandatory attributes made mandatories at an application level. So yeah, we are almost done with the most important features of the template. There are two more features that I'll want to discuss. One is the copy user attribute feature, and number two is the creation rules feature. Let me start off with copy user attributes. So copy user attributes is basically for simplifying the whole template creation process. Say for example, I already have a user who's a part of my IT department. So that's the case. If that's the case, that specific user who's already a part of the IT department is going to have all details pertaining to the IT department specified, very obvious. So let me quickly show you an example. So in this case, I have Caroline. Caroline has all details pertaining to the IT department pre-populated because she is already a member of the IT department. Now what I'm trying to do is create a template for the IT department. Now that I know that she's already a part of the department, I can choose to copy Caroline's attributes and have it apply to the template that I'm creating. It's that simple. I do not even need to configure the template. Instead, just copy from a user who's already existing in my system belonging to the IT department. That's simple. It can't get any simpler. It's that simple. And we also have provision to make this action attribute at an attribute level. You can choose to copy the entire module or keep it attribute specific. Say for example, I just want to copy the description from Caroline, the container or the organization unit from Caroline, and when it comes to the accounts tab, I want to copy the membership, the group membership, and probably nothing more, just the group membership. All right. Likewise, the contact tab can also be configured. So we've got access to different tabs, different attributes, and all of these can be copied and applied to your template. And what is the intention behind doing this whole copy user attribute action? We are trying to save time by not creating a template from scratch, but instead choosing to copy the attributes of an existing AD user. So we already tried to simplify the whole user onboarding process with a simple template. We are further trying to simplify it with a copy user attribute option. So this is the simplest that it can get. This is as simple as it can get. So make sure that you use these templates and create them department specific and get your onboarding done in a jiffy, and you're going to definitely thank me, because this is the easiest way to get user provisioning done. So we've got tabs in place. We've also specified different attributes pertaining to the IT department. I've showed you how to copy user attributes. We've pre-specified attributes. We've tried and made a non-mandatory attribute mandatory. We've also spoken about logon naming formats. We're almost done. One last feature of the templates, the killer feature saved for the last, which is the creation rules. Creation rules. Let me show you what's a creation rule. A creation rule basically has two parts. One is the condition and part two is the value. So if this condition that I'm going to set gets satisfied, a value can get automatically assigned. Let me quickly show you. If I set a condition, so conditions are basically AD attributes. I can pre-specify a certain AD attribute, and if that AD attribute's value is matched, or if that condition is met, what have I done right here? I've chosen department AD attribute as my condition, and I've specified IT department or information and technology as my condition to be satisfied. Okay. If this condition is satisfied, I want the membership the membership to be set as this. I can say add groups, and I can go ahead and add IT specific groups. Okay, so we've got the shortlist. Let me quickly pick the IT related groups and click OK. So you might be wondering as to why I'm doing this. Simple. So if you want to create a template, go ahead, create a template. But then if you want to get still smarter and create a template that's intelligent, make use of the creation rules. So we are saying, or we are pre-specifying that if the department is information and technology, my member of or my group membership is going to be this. Let me add another condition. Let's say what else can we pre-specify? The membership is set. The description can also be set. I'm going to say IT technician and add that as well. Add the organizational unit to which it's got to be mapped to, and set it as the IT department. And add that as well. So you might be wondering as to why I'm doing this task. I already configured a template with almost the same set of details, but then why am I doing this? Yes, that's a great question. That question is an obvious question. The thing is, if I want to have a template that applies to all the users in my organizations, I'm going to create a generic template with attributes that are pertaining to all users, or attributes that are relevant to all users. But then if I want to make use of the same template, okay, and not create multiple templates, but still have users simultaneously onboarded to different departments with one template, I can have a condition like this set and saved, okay, and add another rule for a different department. So all the basic attributes that are pertaining to all my departments or all my employees in the organization are already going to be set, because I've configured that from the layout view that we were discussing. The basic attributes are going to be the same for all users. So that's configured. Now that I want this template to be intelligent, I'm going to have department specific conditions set. So I'm trying to add another condition, rule 2, for another department, okay, which is going to be the finance department. Yes, the finance department, and I want to set the value for details such as my membership, different group membership. Membership is going to be a finance related group. So likewise, you can add a group and say a finance related group. So you can specify a group that's pertaining to the finance user. Say for example, if let's assume that this was a finance related group and click OK. So likewise, what you can do is you can have different departments set with different conditions, because every department is going to have its own set of attributes. From the list of available attributes, you can choose to pre-specify values for these attributes if this condition is met. So this is just one use case. There are hundreds of permutations and combinations that are available for creation rules. You can have attributes such as the country set. So if your organization is spread across the world with branches in different countries, if that's your case, you can have country set and pre-specified as the condition, and if that condition is met, you can have values to different AD attributes assigned. So based on the country, details such as your manager or your location, your home folder, your home path, all of that might get changed. Even details such as your home phone, a lot of other details, your zip code, things like that can be specific to your country in which your organization is. So likewise, you can have different AD attributes as conditions based on your requirement, and have other AD attributes as the values that are going to be an implication right after this condition is met. So we've discussed about the creation rules as well. So we are almost about towards the end of the session. We started off, sorry, let me save the template for you. So I'm done with the creation rule as well. Okay, so we are done with the basic requirement for today's workshop, which is the user creation template. The next step is just a 1-minute step. We are done with the user creation template. We have created a user creation template for the IT department. We've pre-specified values for different fields. We've made certain attributes mandatory. We've altered attributes. We've tried copying attributes. Okay. We've also set creation rules. Let me go ahead and quickly save the template. Okay, the template is saved. The next thing that I'll need is a CSV file. The second requirement is a simple CSV file. How do I create a CSV file? First name, last name, followed by template name. Like I told you, it's going to be a simple CSV file. So you might be wondering if these headers are going to help you to create a CSV file. The answer is no, because these headers are AD specific headers and not LDAP headers. So we're going to have LDAP headers for the CSV file. Given name, SN, the last name, and the template name. So I'm going to create a simple CSV file for a test user. Let me say Flint Stone, and the template is going to be IT accounts, the template that I just created. Okay, so what am I doing right here? I'm creating a simple CSV file with just the first name and last name and the template name. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. If you want to add more users, you can go ahead and add as many number of users you want with just the basic attributes, the given name, and the first name and the last name and the template name. That is all. You need not specify group membership. You need not specify the OU department, anything at all. All of that is going to be mapped from the template that you created. Okay. Let me go ahead and quickly show you how to do the creation. So we are trying to create new users right here. We want to create users. So it's going to be an operation under bulk user creation. Okay, pretty simple, straightforward. I created a CSV file. Now I want to import the CSV file into the system. So you might be having a question as to how to create a CSV file. For that, we have a sample CSV file in the CSV creation module. Sample CSV file. You can make use of this CSV, edit it as per your requirement, or if you want to customize the headers, you can click on the CSV headers options that's available. So this is going to give you a comprehensive list of all the available headers and their corresponding mappings. So the first name is going to be the given name. The last name is going to be SN like I told you. So all the AD attributes and their corresponding LDAP headers are filled right here. So you can make use of this. So how do you get access to this? You can come into the AD management module, create users in bulk, and right here we have a prompt that says CSV Headers. Alternatively, you can access the help documentation for which I'm going to share you the link in a while, admanagerplus.com/help. We are trying to do a CSV import. We are trying to create users, and it's going to be the list. So quickly sharing this link so that you can make use of this in future on your chat. Yes. Okay, so that's the link for the LDAP headers. Getting back to the process, so we are trying to import a CSV file that we created. Okay, so it's going to be the user creation CSV file. The most important point is it's got to be a CSV file. Okay, clicking on OK and hitting OK. So there's going to be a validation that's taking place to check if the CSV file is right. Okay, so what do we have right here? We had a simple CSV file with just two attributes filled out, the first name and the last name, but we have the description attribute filled out, the organizational unit rightly mapped to the IT department, the membership also specified with all the IT related groups right there. And what's more to it, we've also got Office 365. So if you were to go ahead and use the normal generic process of creating a user, it would have taken you at least an hour to get one user provisioned everywhere. But then now, this day on, now that you have configured a template, it's going to be super easy for you to create users and onboard them right away. So let me show you how easy it is to copy a user. So click this specific icon that's here. We are done with the copying process. So I want another user with the same set of attributes to be onboarded into my IT department. I can copy or edit it pretty simply and say I'm done. It's as simple as that. It can't get any simpler. So I've got another user with all his attributes populated. So in under 5 seconds I've got another user populated. So likewise you can add multiple users to your CSV file or make one entry and make multiple copies of it. So that's a case. So for this example, it's just going to be one user. So during the introduction, I told you that user provisioning, it's not just made easy with ADManager Plus, but then you also get a lot of clarity in the process of user creation. What do I mean by clarity? I'm going to show you that in a while. Let me go ahead and quickly hit create. So I've created a template, I've created a CSV, I've imported the CSV that I created, the importing is taking place, and yes, the process of user creation is successful. It says successfully created user, but then like I told you, the product not just lets you create users but also gives you clear insight as to what went wrong. So here we have an error message that says there was a problem in creating exchange mailbox because my server was not set right. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. It not just simplifies the process but also gives you great clarity as to what will go wrong or what went wrong. So you can always get back to the problem, answer it, finish it off, and then come back without any issue. So if you were to make use of a PowerShell script as complex as this, you have no clue as to how to figure out what went wrong, because it's going to be a generic PowerShell script not giving you any error messages when you actually carry out the user creation process. So you're going to be stuck with no idea as to how to proceed, but then the process is done successfully, but the product lets you or keeps you informed as to what's gone wrong for you to go ahead and correct it. So this is one thing. So we are almost done with today's session. What we tried to do was we tried to create a user creation template. We created a simple CSV file. We made use of the management action that's available, which is creating bulk users. Okay. After the template was created, we wanted to import a CSV file. Let me quickly show that once more. Choosing the file. This time I'm going to import a CSV file with multiple entries. And what is that CSV file going to be? User creation template with different departments. So like I told you, multiple users, simultaneously can be onboarded into different departments, the HR department, the IT, finance, marketing, sales, and so on and so forth. Okay. So this is my CSV file. I've got 4 different departments right here, the HR, IT, marketing, and sales with the same simple format. Okay. Let's see if I can onboard all of them. Trying to import users, choosing the file. Okay, that's done. The importing is also done. Clicking OK. So yes, I've got the CSV file successfully imported right here. Like you can see, I just specified the template and all of my attributes like my description, my departments, my group membership. See right here, you can see sales, marketing, IT, and HR. All of that is pre-specified. It saved me a lot of time. All of this because the departments are lightly specified and mapped using the template that I created. Okay, let me quickly show you. In the introduction, I told you that I've created specific templates that are pertaining to different departments. So thanks to those department specific templates, I can have users onboarded in one go to different departments. Let me quickly create users. What do we have right here? We are going to see users being onboarded to different departments with one error message. Yes. So we have 3 users onboarded. All right. Successfully onboarded, successfully onboarded, successfully onboarded. All of these guys are onboarded, but for one person. Peter Parker is not onboarded. And why is that? That's because I set a rule right during the process of the creation template which said detecting duplicates and managing them at the process of user creation. So what I can do is I can detect for duplicates and stop duplication right at the entry. Because that rule was set, this specific user was not created. So that's the beauty of the product. It not just helps you do a creation process, but also helps you stop duplicates or prevent duplicates at the entry because a rule is set. So that's about it. We are almost done with today's session. Let me give you a quick recap on what we discussed today. We've successfully created users. Task for the day is almost done. So we were talking about a 360-degree user provisioning in AD, Office 365 and Skype for Business. We were talking about bulk user creation using a CSV file. We used creation rules to pre-specify things like your group membership, your OU name, your manager attributes, so on and so forth. We also saw how to standardize the naming format, and we also saw how to make an attribute mandatory, a non-mandatory attribute mandatory. We took the example of the employee ID. We also saw that the product can detect a duplicate and stop it at the entry level. So the product has an inbuilt capability to detect and manage duplication right at the entry. We've seen and covered all the topics for today's session. All right. I'm going to give you a heads up on what's coming up for next week. So next week is going to be about the next phase of user lifecycle management, which is user modification. We're going to talk about group membership, modifying group membership, and automatically doing it. So you definitely want to come join next week's session. We're going to talk about the next phase. We're also going to talk about deprovisioning users and restoring deleted users. And finally, we're going to talk about managing your Office 365 licenses and Exchange mailbox. So that's going to be the agenda for next week. All right. So thank you so much guys for having patiently stayed throughout the session. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Please feel free to contact the support just in case you have any further questions. They'd be more than happy to answer you. All right. And I'm available at the chat window right now to answer all your questions. I'm going to be here for another half an hour. So feel free to ask as many questions as you want regarding today's session. The session is going to be live. If in case you want a demonstration to be re-explained or a specific topic to be covered, no problemo, that can be done. So until next week, this is Jay signing off. You all have a great day. See you. Tada, bye-bye.